I'm overdriving this thing.
It's very easy to do.
Yeah, you're 2 seconds a lap faster than me.
My last one was 156.
I was talking about Butch.
Oh. I thought you were talking to me.
Damn, dude, you're smoking. There it goes again.
I read a recap from last week in Discord.
Oh, the recaps that I write up.
Yeah, I read it, and I read through my park from last week.
You know, going back and watching that, neither one of your incidents was really that bad.
Then why did I get parked for it?
So we have a rule within the league that if you cause 2 yellows, you have to park. And your 2 spins brought out yellows. And we had to do that because in previous seasons, we had instances where a single driver would bring out like 3-4 yellows per race. And we're like, we've got to put a stop to that. So that's why we came up with the 2 and done rule.
I mean, after the second one, I knew something was going to happen, but I didn't expect a park, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like it's a lingering effect deal. So in other words, there's no like penalty for this coming week or anything forward. It's just for that race, you have to park.
Yeah. I mean,
Good
and that's
news about
Go ahead.
yeah. The good news about being on a road course this week, we're not going to be bringing out the yellows. So if we had worst case scenario, we had a repeat of last week. All right, and you brought out 2 more cautions. That's when things would not go so favorably.
And
That would bring out another sideline visit for a race.
and that was the second time this year I've been parked.
Yeah. But we're gonna get you right. We're dedicated to helping you out.
I'm trying, y'all.
Yeah, we know.
I mean, we all know, and some of you guys raced in real life, but wrecks are part of it.
Oh, absolutely. You know, and like, you know, like I alluded to, as Chris did as well. You know, it's not necessarily to. They're not directly aimed at punishing people. They're more for providing more green flag racing for everyone else. So, like Gateway, you know, it being a short track, we could have had the same thing at Iowa, where a single driver, you know, brings out multiple yellows. We had a race, I think it was season 2, where, no, it was season 1. We had one driver cause 4 yellow flags in a single race.
And then I couldn't continue.
No, what? It wasn't Chris. But all 4 of them happened before we even got 3/4 of the way through the race. You know, the only reason that they didn't bring out a fifth one is that when they caused the fourth yellow, they finally did enough damage to their own car that they couldn't continue. The bad part about it is the third yellow that they brought out and the fourth yellow that they brought out took out an extra 6 drivers.
Oh, they were all multi-car crashes.
Yes. So this one driver, you know, through the third and fourth wreck, ended the race of 6 other drivers. And that was why we made the rule and kind of changed things up, and like, you know, yep, accidents happen. We hate to do it. Look, we've all seen a race. I don't care if it's IndyCar or NASCAR or whatever, where a guy spins or whatever multiple times and comes back and, you know, finishes well. Hey, even in some cases wins the fucking race. But we also have to look at the way we kind of look at things here is, you know, sim racing is a hobby. None of us are getting paid to do it. You know, if anything, it's costing every single one of us money to do it, whether it be through us hosting sessions, to hosting a league, to having your account when iRacing. It all costs money. Nobody wants to spend money to run pace laps. So we kind of like look at things. Fuck you, Dan. Well, that's the only way you can actually get the lead. So, but in the end, you know, we had to look at the bigger picture. We had to look at, you know, do we want drivers going away because we're running 40-50% of the race under yellow? Or do we want to, I don't want to say drop the hammer on somebody, but that's a loose way of putting it. Do we drop the hammer on 1 or 2 drivers that are repeat offenders for them to get it through their head that I've got to practice more and I've got to be better prepared for when the races come so I don't get parked? Now, to your point, you're a rookie. We get that. We understand that. Us parking you is not us trying to scold you. If anything, we would hope that if and when you do get parked during a race, you do like you've done in practice. You jump in my car, you jump in Chris's car, Dan's car, Chad's car, and learn something. You know, see what we are doing differently. One thing I will say primarily is look at the angle of the steering wheel through corners for each driver. I think we talked about this when we were practicing at Pocono. You're turning the wheel too far. You're probably turning the wheel too far through the kink here at Road America, which is why the back end's coming around.
Yep, just got to learn the throttle steer right there.
Yep,
I was just going through the kink and doing just that.
It's a very, very, very light turn on the wheel. It seems like you got to turn it a lot because you're fucking hauling ass there, but it's really not. So if you ride with somebody and you see their steering wheel and how little they're actually turning to get through these corners, it kind of gives you a better understanding of, you know, what you have to do to get through.
Then is back to what I was saying before, is the severity of incidents taken into account when deciding if to park someone or not?
Oh, 2 cautions and you're done. It don't matter what you did.
Correct.
That's
Yep.
the fairest way we can figure it out, and it saves race control the time having to figure out. Because at the end of the day, the severity of the wreck is going to be opinionated by race control because we're not going to be able to see it.
Right. Severity is subject to judgment, and judgment on who's viewing it.
And that's why
to remove that, like Dan said, it's just if you cause 2 yellows, you cause 2 yellows. Like, again, your situation at Gateway. You had a self-spin. You were all by yourself, didn't cause any other damage to any other car. But it still counts as 1 strike against you. Your second incident, you got loose. And to avoid you, Glazer spun himself. And then you ended up in the wall. That brought out the yellow. Again, not that bad of a deal, but it was the cause of the yellow. And that's why you got hit with it. Yep, it sucks.
Man, hell, I had to park Chris.
Yeah. And look, that's...
We're not above the law. If we do it, we're going to get parked too.
Yep. Yep. I mean, hindsight being 2020, and being completely honest here, if you go back and, like Gateway, and I even typed it up in the post-race, the incident with Holyfield when he self-spun, he moved up the track to give me more room on the bottom because I wiggled. Now, I never lost control of my car. I never got sideways. But his spin could indirectly be attributed to me getting loose underneath of him as I was lapping him. You know, if I had gotten sideways more and bumped him or caused him to otherwise spin, that incident could have been put on me. And then when I later spun by myself, passing Lyle, that would have been 2 for me, and I would have been done. Doesn't matter that I'm P2 in points. Doesn't matter that I'm an admin. If anything, as an admin, you know, myself, Dan, Chris, Nate, you know, Mikey, we all see ourselves as, not only are we not above the law, but we're more restricted by the law. We are the example that everyone else more or less follows. So if there's a situation where, excuse me, there's a situation where, you know, a penalty has to be doled out, and it's one of us, oh, we're getting hit. We're getting hit with the max. Because if we can get hit, then every regular driver in the league that's not an admin will sit back and say, well, fuck, he's an admin. If they just penalize the admin, what the fuck are they going to do to me when I fuck up? And that keeps everybody on their P's and Q's. Okay. It makes everybody understand that we do not play favorites. Everybody gets treated the same, you know? And, you know, like guys like Mikey. I've raced with Mikey, I don't know, 15 years, somewhere around there. I've raced with Lyle for 10, 11 years, 12 years.
In real life?
No, sim racing. But like Mikey was around back in the old days of like NASCAR 2003. He'll tell you, I was a head admin in the league back in those days, and you know, we had one race where not only did I disqualify myself from the event, but I slapped myself with an extra 30-point penalty because I did some really dumb shit. I was an idiot, you know, admin or not, head admin or not. I was an idiot, and at the end of the day, it's like, that was fucking stupid. It should have never happened. It breaks this rule and this rule. I'm getting hit twice, fuck it. And I did. And
throw this out there, when I dirt raced, my home track had the 2 and you're done rule. If you caused 2 cautions in one event, you were done.
Yeah, so a lot of racing has gone to that. So Kieran Brugelli, who races part-time here with us, he runs Outlaw Karts out in California.
In real life?
Yes. They have a 2 and you're done rule. And like that's legit racing. They're racing for money. Yep, it's little outlaw go-karts. They're circle track on dirt. But
fun as shit to drive.
If you spin twice, you are fucking done.
Yep.
Quarter midgets was the same thing, and we're talking 4.5-year-old kids.
Yeah.
Like, you want to talk about a brutal rude awakening for a child. Like, yeah, you fucked up twice, you're done.
Yep.
You know that. I mean, that's life right there.
When I
and then-
moved to the super late model division, they hold the guys that drive the super late models at a higher regard than they do everybody else, just because the teams have more horsepower and there's more moving parts to a super late model than there is a Renegade or a super stock or something like that. And I mean, there's going to be cautions. There's going to be wrecks, and people are going to beat and bang each other. It's dirt, but it got to be where if you were having a 50-lap event, 25 of those laps were under caution because people were getting away with shit. And it would be, you know, I'm not saying that it's being done on purpose, but you know, somebody needs to cool their engine off or let their tires rest or something. They would cause a caution so they could get that couple of laps of rest. And they finally got to the point where if you cause 2 cautions during an event, you parked it. If you did it the following week, you were parked for that event and the next event. But that's just my 2 cents in it. I mean, hell, I got parked. For
I'll be right back.
a couple times dirt track racing. So
I was gonna
Stop
say,
giving them the damn finger.
So
I think
I'm not.
everybody-
So I'm not the only person who's gotten parked. Period.
oh hell no.
oh hell no.
No, I mean, there's times where I've parked, nobody's told me to park, but I mean, it's like, you know, I've spun out, it's like, you know what, fuck it, I'm done. There's times where I've wrecked my car, limped it to the pit, got it fixed, started to proceed, and like, all right, but then my wheel's at a 90 degrees, and I come straight out, and you can ask Butch. I've said, I'm parking this thing, this is too damn dangerous.
I parked my old boss man.
Mm-hmm.
Myself. I'm like Mikey said, I've wrecked, got the car back out on the track, the car wasn't worth the shit, and I said the hell with it, drove it back to the pits.
Hell, there's times I wouldn't even make it out of the pits. Be like, yeah, I can't deal with this. So, and I'm not gonna sit there and jeopardize somebody else's race because I want to continue on with the fucked up car and a fucked up wheel.
Yeah. Don't think you're the first one, because definitely you ain't the first, and you ain't gonna be the last. I promise you.
Oh hell no.
No, and Ryan, don't think, you know, you're not a target. In my eyes, I'm not targeting you. You know, shit happens. It's just, you know, how it's gonna be. I mean,
that's just the rules.
yeah, I mean, I'll park Chris, Dan, or Butch if I need to, you know, but they'll do it on their own.
I told him we got in here, like, hell, I had to park Chris. So, I mean, like I said, it's not that we're pointing anybody out. It's just we're trying to make as much green flag laps as possible.
Yeah, if I gotta park, I'm gonna make it worth my while. I'm taking Dan out with me.
Hell yeah, do it. Do
Exactly.
it tomorrow.
And you know, the good thing for me is, you know, besides being in the booth, you know, I've got Butch, Dan, Chris, you know, maybe Nate, but I've got them in my ear helping me making judgment calls that nobody else hears.
But you mainly watched me last week, right?
Yes. I 90% of my time I was watching you unless a caution came out, then I paused the game and then went to where the caution was.
But that wasn't necessarily waiting for you to make a mistake. That was just kind of keeping an eye. I mean, when it comes down to it, you know, you like we talked about before, Ryan, you're the rookie, you know, in the league this year. And, you know, there is a certain, I don't want to say comfort level, but a lack of a comfort level with you right now in these cars. And it'll come. I mean, you know, everybody, you know, gets better over time. Dan will tell you himself flat out, you know, and even I'll tell you, as good as I was many moons ago when I used to do this shit all the time, when I first came back to iRacing, I couldn't even run a road course. I couldn't run 2 laps because physically I was incapable of doing it. Injuries from a motorcycle accident. Dan couldn't run a road course just because Dan couldn't fucking run a road course.
This is true.
And, you know, we ran the 24 Hours of Daytona this year. Dan probably put in about 2,000 fucking laps around that track, getting prepped for it. And overall, it's made him astronomically a better driver. Not just on the road courses, but on the ovals as well. Because it taught him a little bit more control, a little bit more forward thinking when it comes to the car and, you know, what's going on with tires and things like that. So, you know, every opportunity you get to get behind the wheel is an opportunity to learn. And then when you're not behind the wheel and you're just sitting there, I don't care if you're smoking a cigarette, eating a sandwich, getting something to drink, whatever, you know, watch one of the guys that's consistent. Doesn't have to be fast, just consistent. You know,
perfect example. You know, if it comes down to it and you see Nate on, you know, pick his brain. I mean, I've sat in his car, he sat in my car, you know, along with Butch, and they both helped me, you know, in certain points. But that's why I mainly scream for when we're doing practices at road courses to have the preferred line on, because for me that helps me pinpoint where the braking line, the red start to where I need to look at.
I'll be honest, Nate gave me a lot of help when it come to road courses. I mean, a lot of times he didn't have to spend showing me shit that he was showing me, and it helped me out a bunch. Definitely, you're not going to see me in the top 5 position at a road course, but I got enough to where I can damn finish the race.
Exactly, and what we're trying to get at is you got people mainly in this channel right here that has no problem helping you. My thing with watching you is I wanted to see how you were doing, making sure you were, you know, staying in a lane, and you were doing good. You're gonna have critics out there. Nobody can help that. You know, Hollingsworth, he's one of them that, you know, he'll run his mouth and don't give a shit.
You won't see him here this week.
Hollingsworth is always quick to chirp.
Yeah, you won't see him this week.
Yeah, so just kind of like let that stuff roll off. But yeah, I mean, you know, like Mikey said, obviously I have to watch the whole replay when I do the race recaps, and you know, watching your run throughout that race last week, you know, dude, you were running in the top 10, and you were there on merit. Like Hollingsworth tried multiple times to get around you, and you were running the high line, and you were running it well. You know, you were relatively under control, and you were relatively quick. You know, so, you know, take the positives from it. Don't focus on the fact that, yeah, you had 2 spins and, you know, parked and blah, 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 blah. Take the fact that you ran in the top 10 on merit, and, you know, when you weren't spinning, you had decent pace, and you did well.
Yeah, I mean, perfect example, Ryan. I think it was Auto Club. I was having one hell of a race. I was doing really good. I think Butch got wrecked up, but he was watching me, and I mean, I was up in the top 10, going after 8, and I got brake checked.
Yeah, you gonna race against some people that just automatically assume you're supposed to fucking move when they get around you.
Oh, exactly. I mean, it's like for me, I freaking Auto Club. I was up against the wall, went in the corner, nose dive down, past Hollingsworth, clear in front, you know, way in front of him, and then slid back up to where I was more comfortable. And he bitched because I cut him off, and that wasn't the case. So he did the same thing, but when he came up, instead of going, he just fucking locked him up on me, and then bitched me out because I ran over the top of him.
I fucking hate this track. I'm a fucking piece of shit.
Hey Ryan, hop in my cockpit.
All right, I'm almost to the pits.
Wow.
That sounded like a fucked up Dr.
All right,
Seuss
Rick.
movie.